Strong Good Off from FightHype.com. I'm here with Peter Quillin. How's it going?
I'm good. How you doing today? How's FightHype with all the lovely Ben? What up, baby?
Look, it's always fun and it's always a pleasure talking to you. You always give great insight. You always have a great energy about you. And I just wanted to kind of touch bases and see how training camp's been and how's everything so far.
Everything so far.
My bad, guys.
There we go. That's what you get in boxing, right? What happened was Mike Holyfield was fighting. He was fighting Riddick Bowe, and a guy came in on a parachute. And people look at that like being crazy, but we see endless moments like that, just like the guy coming in here right now and interrupting. Things like that in boxing happen. So you remember that? You remember when Prince Nassim was rated one of those good fighters that he was unstoppable, and when he stepped in the ring with Antonio Barrera, all that Superman stuff went out the window, and you know he didn't look the same after that fight. But that's boxing, and that's what drives the sport, and that's what make it all about. So I've been feeling good. I've been training with Sosa, and it's been going really good. I just love being part of a team of guys that I'm not the only star on this team. I'm not the only guy on this team that's looking for, making a legacy, making a story about myself. It's other guys and guys I can be in contact with that we can talk the same language, and it's a great feeling to be here.
Now, in your previous fight, with Caleb Truax, it didn't go, and essentially the fight fans' way of being able to watch the fight play out. So going into this training camp, it's a rematch, right? Or essentially just a redo. I don't like to even say it's a rematch.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that's the story. It's a lot of rematch stories in the story of boxing, and I can't control nothing about what happened. But if you go back to the fight and you go see me in the beginning of the round, you see me just whispering something. Basically what I was doing, I was actually sitting down talking to God, because what happened is, we in life, no matter what God you believe in, so many guys out here you believe in, but the God I believe always tell me that his will is going to be done. It said, in Romans 12:2 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. So that rematch wasn't anything less besides a perfect situation, a rematch, a good storyline, believing another payday, another opportunity to go there with a different perspective about going to somebody else's backyard and fighting them there. Because this fans was brutal. They was, I remember walking out and you hear people telling me I'm getting knocked out. And no matter what, as a fighter, it's hard to hear people say words like that. Because in boxing, things like that can happen. You can get knocked out, and it happens all the time. And, I don't want to let people get in my mind. But I know he tried to use his fans as a strength for himself by saying, I'm fighting my hometown, my fans are going to be there with me. But soon he had the opportunity to not protest them stopping the fight. Even Gabriel Rosado, I know it was later in the round, but Gabe is a real fighter, which is one of my toughest fights. He still rallied to try to get up in there and get one more round. He was supposed to let his team be the one that said, yeah, you can't fight no more. Let his team be the one to say, but he looked like he was trying to get out and make a way out, which as a business move, it's a smart thing, because if it was before 4 rounds, it's no contest. We still get a payday and we can go on and fight a rematch, get another payday, and still try to fight for the strap. So I learned a lot. I learned that God was with me no matter what. I got a good perspective, and I know that I'm doing the will of God. I'm back in the gym. We're working hard, and we're going to continue to do what we was going to do in the first fight, which is get him out of there.
Now, you seem real comfortable at this weight at 168. Like, how does it feel to be at, I think it's your natural weight, right? You don't have to shrink down and worry about that.
I still got to shrink down. I'm going to tell you right now, my body's older. My body retains a lot of water. So it's like I have to work out like I'm getting ready for a fight. I don't eat a lot of pork. I'm not a big drinker. I'm almost considering stop drinking as a whole. No more wine, no more beer, none of that, because I'm not a big drinker. My dad is, a big drinker. He drinks every day. Not to get drunk, but for the taste of liquor. So I gotta watch out to be careful drinking. So my lifestyle is not like the type of lifestyle you get when people are like out there partying, doing this, Before I could say I was out there and I was like, just dibbling, dabbling, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, it's like I always try to make sure that this was my lifestyle, like being a boxer. And, I'm understanding my body as I go along. So now I'm working with a lady, her name is Ashley, and she's my dietitian. And she's been working with a lot of different fighters like Andre Ward, Joey Spencer. I met her in the Bay Area, and she does all my programs, and she has it based on the science of it. So I feel like she's the right person for me right now to make sure I'm explaining the weight where I'm at. She said she can make it happen, and for her it's more so making sure the fluid around my brain is not evaporated, because a lot of fighters don't know. When you training and you working hard, you start sweating a lot, you releasing water from your body, you start losing the water around your brain, which is the cushion. And you have a lot of guys that brain rattle against their brain, and now they got a concussion, or they suffer from all kind of different things. And for me, you got to know your body, man, because you can walk in a healthy athlete in one fight, and then right after you try to step out the ring, you can never step out of the ring, or you don't walk out the same as the person that you walked in. So I'm just trying to make sure now. I didn't believe in the science as much as I did. I mean, before in my beginning career, I didn't believe in the science, and so science don't prove there's. Science do prove it's a God to a certain extent, but science don't prove why Michael Jordan was such a good athlete, or why Floyd Mayweather is just so phenomenal, and why he never took a loss. Science can't prove that. So I'm just now getting to the point where I just trust God is with everything in my life, my management, my training, everything. So I just feel good, and I feel very motivated. I'm gonna go up in there and continue to put my best foot forward, because the message that I got and the story I'm fighting with is a pure one, that you can actually change your life. You cannot make a 360 where you end up in the same place, but make a 180 and have a different direction. And that's where I'm at right now.
Now, for the opportunity for a title shot at 168, this would be for Callum Smith's belt.
Callum Smith?
If I'm
or Caleb?
Okay, there's a Caleb Plant's, the IBF, right? Okay. So with that, I think Caleb Plant's fighting this weekend against Mike Lee.
Yes.
How do you think that fight?
It would hurt me to hear Caleb maybe say something negative or anything about me in a way that's outside of what we said as friends. Now I know why it's kind of tough to be friends with people in the same weight class. Caleb Plant helped me out to get ready for Danny Jacobs. He did a phenomenal job to help me. I wouldn't say that I was beating him up. I wouldn't say he was beating me up, but it was top quality sparring at the time, and I'm pretty sure that the experience was a good experience for him and me as well. I only wish the best. He had a daughter. I got pictures of his daughter, so we have a friendship outside of boxing, and it's kind of like now kind of separated because of now us. So I respect it, but like as far as like the way that they would market the fight and promote the fight, it would hurt me to hear him say anything negative outside that it's going to be a good fight and that I'm looking to come out the winner, no matter how he said that. But I'm not going to let nobody whip my ass. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm just not going to take disrespect from anybody, especially when he knows my wife, I knows his story, and I only figured like a story like Caleb Plant will only help the next person that went through similar hardships to him, that he could be the one that's going to be the spokesperson for people that come from similar situation, that you can come from a messed up situation and make something in yourself like becoming a world champion. So I know he's fighting with a deep story. I would just hope that we will go into the fight being able to be respectable to each other and what each other is standing for.
It's just it's nothing personal. It's just it's sports.
Business. It's business, man. And I respect that part of the sport, that is business. But I can tell you that I'm not going to never get emotional about anything about when it comes with money. You can't bring emotion into where the money is at, because it means you like that's not good. That's why you said business is business and friend is friends. So I had to step aside for the business. In the friendship, we had to separate that for 1 second to be able to do the business, and then come back and hopefully we can have a conversation or whatever. And the same thing with like the Dirrell brothers. Dirrell brothers been I've been friends with them for their whole career, and when I heard Andre Dirrell tell me You know, when I was sparring him, when we both up there with Verge and he was sparring, he was like, man, I remember when I was looking at you and like, man, I might have to fight this dude. And when I heard him say that, I was like, man, damn. You know, they around here thinking like we got to fight each other. And I had to get a different perspective. Because I was like, man, there's certain people I won't fight, like a Cuban, somebody that come from Cuba and come over here to make an opportunity. Not to say I'm thinking about like a loser, but I know when I step in a ring with anybody, I'm trying to stop their story from flourishing. That's all it is. And certain people, I just don't want to stop their story from flourishing because some of the good stories out there is good for the people and the listener and the fans.
100%. And you don't even have ill will or nothing with Danny Jacobs either.
No. I will just hope that, you know, Danny Jacobs coming from a story like, you know, let's look at it. He took a loss. Yeah. I took a loss. Mm-hmm. First he took a loss, Dimitri P-Raw. I was undefeated, and I took a loss from him. And then he go on and fight another fight with a superstar of the sport and took another loss. That's the way the sport goes. But the story that he's fighting for with, it's hard to go out there and fight a guy that got such a good story like cancer. My uncle passed away of cancer and died. And it was the most heart-wrenching thing I ever did endure. I will break down crying to show you that it's real. So I know what cancer, how bad cancer can damage a family or damage the people that's your loved ones in your family. So I would figure his story is a good story, and what kind of story would have to beat that story? The story that me like coming and struggling out. They say a lot of things about me, but he went on, you know, had made a lot of money and through everything. I'm happy for him, and you know, I only want him to be the best spokesperson for people that are struggling with the same thing he struggled with.
Yeah, and him going on with 68, no, you know, everyone has that respect that it's just business, but you know, in that case, we get in the ring with, you know, Peter Quillin is going down.
Yes, I mean, I put it like this: option, you know, he's moving up to 168, and who knows down the line if the story collides again, and I get to be able to rematch him, and you know, I can get my revenge on my loss against him.
So, on top of your boxing career, you also dabble into houses, right? And
yeah.
How's that all going?
Well, you know, it's hard to like focus on houses. So I have my best friend Antoine Gooch, who's actually my boxing manager. He manages my whole career. We partners with the real estate. He the one that went out there and did all the work. Now he has a builder's license, so he can actually build a house now. With me and him sitting down talking about. He asked me, "What you want to do? I'm gonna make sure it happen." I said, I want to own a piece of Grand Rapids. So he went out there, he did the due diligence with meeting the people that was like into politics, like the foreclosed properties, which we didn't buy a lot of foreclosed properties. We bought houses in cash from people that was looking to sell their houses. So we bought a lot of houses. I own a lot of houses in cash. So they just sitting there. We have a building that's worth $500,000. You know what I'm saying? So if all said to say, if I didn't want to box no more, I would be able to sit down and sell all my properties, have over a meal ticket, and be able to reinvest that doing something else. So, but right now it's 100% thinking about boxing, nothing else. We sitting on the house, you worry about that. And when we done, we can settle down and sit down and say what we doing with the cribs. So I own a lot of cribs. I think the best thing a boxer can do is not to always listen to the people that's telling you, worry about boxing. Because eventually something happen, those people are not going to be around. They ain't going to be there and be like, no, you need to go back to school or you need to do this. They ain't going to tell you, worry about boxing no more because they don't want to work with you no more now. What you do now, since you've been investing your whole life and get hit in the face, learning what to do once you get hit in the face, what do you do now to sustain life and handle your money and send your kids to college? What do you do? Ain't no way you can save enough money and save that money without spending it, without living, enjoying the fruits of your labor. And like, who don't work in America for money? Name one person, even a millionaire, they still go to work. And they probably one of the hardest working people in the world is millionaires because they always got to focus on their money. So me with the cribs is just like a good thing. I believe in God. So I know God got me, so I'm not worried about it. He's gonna make me fruitful in a lot of different ways outside of just like being a real estate owner or a landlord, whatever the case you wanna be. But I can tell you what owning houses did do is like, I hate to say this, but it made me really like, not racist towards black people, but racist towards people who don't wanna work and want better for their life. I'm a welfare baby, I come from welfare. My family was on welfare, and I can say welfare is good for people that need it, but it's not good for everybody, especially if you're trying to be on welfare your whole life. Because, you know, it's a lot of times we went to school, and we had to go to school. Why? Because you're going to get your lunch. And I was super happy when they started selling breakfast, because, you know what I mean, it was very hard when we was growing up. So, you know, this journey has been a wonderful journey. And, you know, I'm glad that I invested in real estate and I got money to back it up.
Well, definitely, you know, and I think that you can probably give a lot of advice to people who, in the boxing, who just, not just boxes, but, you know, beyond that point. And I think that would be great if you ever...
I wish, but the Bible says this: many are called, but only a few are chosen. The gates of Hades is large and vast. The gates to the kingdom is small and narrow. God says take the narrow path. Think about the gates of Hades. That means doing immoral stuff all around the world. So it's not possible for you to give a solid message about taking that small road to get more out of life than taking what's here right now. I'm gonna take this money. That's why if a person sees $1 million on the table, they're gonna take the $1 million because it's right there. But if I say wait down 3 years and I'm gonna give you 10 million, what you think people gonna more so do? They're gonna take the $1 million because it's right there. They ain't gonna take the small and narrow to get the 10 mil. They're gonna take the right now money. So a lot of people don't hear the pure message. But I would say it's 2 to 3 people that sit down and hear the message and know that it's pure, and those are the one that God chooses.